On that day, August 10th, I was on the phone with a physician who was a client of mine, and we were scheduling an appointment. Standing next to me was another physician who was waiting for me to get off the phone, and next to him was a trainer that worked with me who was trained in CPR. As I ended the conversation on the telephone, that was the last thing that I remembered. My AED is right here. I put the phone down here. So that's the last thing I remember. Mm-hmm. Apparently I fell here, hit my head on the wall here. I had a physician here, a trainer who was trained in CPR there. From there, I woke up probably 4 days later that I remember, with my wife telling me that I had experienced sudden cardiac arrest.
Great.
While I was in the hospital, I also had a defibrillator, an internal defibrillator, put into my chest in case it happened again. I was told by the physicians and the cardiologist that my condition was of unknown cause or idiopathic. So I had many tests on my heart and brain, and they couldn't find anything that was really wrong with my heart. So it's kind of a mystery. If it wasn't for the Dennis Fire Department, I may not be here today.
Sitting somewhere?
I'm busy.
Yeah, I can tell. Thank God you got people who actually work here.
I want no part of it. You can enjoy yourself.
How are you?
I would.
Friday afternoons. The day of the event in question, we were sitting here, and one of the waitresses came by and said, "Does anybody know CPR?" We'd heard some commotion in the background, but didn't know what was going on. This is sort of isolated. Because she came out and felt, I said, "I do." So we walked out, and over here, on this particular stool, there was a gentleman sitting who was slumped over with his head down on the bar. So I walked over, took a pulse, straightened him up so he could breathe, took a pulse. There was no pulse. It was cyanotic. So I and another individual, with our arms around him, under his arms, dragged him off the chair and got him on the ground. The other gentleman I was with tilted his head to get an airwave, took a pulse again. We had nothing, so I began chest compressions. And didn't stop. We used to stop in the pass and breathe. I just kept going. His color began to come back. He actually coughed at one particular point in time. And then I had a little bit of a pulse and I lost it completely. He became cyanotic again. Continued with the compressions. Color was coming back again. The police had arrived by this point in time. They put the paddles on his chest, hit him twice. Then checked. I continued the compressions because I wasn't sure at that point that we had him breathing. I don't think they were either. And then the rescue, Dennis Rescue came. So it was that simple. You know, I've been trained a number of times in CPR. I've taken my usual citizens training. I did it when I was a teacher in high school. And I'm a charter boat captain, and every couple of years I update myself and the other captains do. So when it was time to perform it, it wasn't an overwhelming experience. You just do what you're trained to do, and you hope for the best. One of the things that I think that hold people back, even those who've been trained, is they're afraid of making a mistake. I know there were other people in this bar who knew CPR before they got to me. But people are so nervous about they might screw it up, so to speak, that they just can't bring themselves to get involved. Not because they don't care, just because the fear piece of it. The reality is, the person's already dead. The gentleman I had was in full cardiac arrest. He was in a position where anything that I did, I couldn't make it any worse. So you go ahead and you use your training and you do what you can do. I am delighted, obviously, this gentleman has made it through. I'm pretty sure I broke a couple of ribs while doing it, but that's all part of the CPR experience. I think if you're going to do it correctly. I know he's been back in here. And it's a good feeling to know that you're able to help somebody else. I know his family was very happy and very grateful, and he is also. So my message to anybody is, number one, to get the training, and number two, once you have it, don't worry about it. You just do what you have to do. You can't make the situation any worse. And on occasion, like this one, we're fortunate, and it has a good result.